Be honest with me for a second. What are your mornings actually looking like right now? For most of us, it's probably something along the lines of hitting the snooze button a few times before picking up the phone to check your socials, just for a few minutes, and then scrolling until you look up and realize how late it actually is. Then it's jumping out of bed to rush through getting dressed, getting the kids ready for school, grabbing whatever's closest to eat. If you're lucky, you'll have a few moments to sit down just long enough to eat it before running out the door while thinking about the half dozen things that you're already behind on. That was basically every morning of my life for years. It's not anymore, but for a long time, that was just how my mornings went, and I didn't know that there was another way to do it. Which brings us to the thing that I want to talk about today. That first half hour of your day. It's not just the beginning of the day. It's not neutral. It's actually setting the tone for everything that comes after it, whether you're paying attention to it or not. And most of us hand that time over to our phones before we've even said good morning to ourselves. So today, I want to talk about romanticizing your morning. And I know that phrase can sound like a lot, like it's one more thing to add to a long list of things or one more aesthetic to perform. But I promise it's not that. It's actually the opposite of it. It's 6 small, doable things, none of which take more than just a few minutes, that change how the rest of your day feels before it really even has time to start. This isn't about waking up at 5 a.m. or anything like that. It's about deciding, on purpose, that the way you start your day is worth a little bit of care. If your mornings have felt like something that just happens to you lately, stay with me because this one is for you. Hey loves, welcome back to the Perfect Sunday podcast for the women who are done playing small and ready to become the main character of their own life. I'm not an expert, I'm just a woman who's been paying attention and figuring things out along the way. Today, we're talking about 6 teeny morning rituals that genuinely change how the whole day feels. Nothing extreme, nothing expensive, nothing that requires you to become a different person. Just small, intentional moments in the first part of your day that remind you you're worth showing up for before anyone else even asks anything of you. But first, this week's Sunday obsession. So I believe that every woman should have a signature scent. I have always had 2, one being a daytime scent and the other one is my evening fragrance. Gypsy Water has been my daytime signature scent for years, but I just ran out, so I decided it was time to go look for something new, and I fell in love with Mojave Ghost from Burrito. But I also bought the body mist, which is my current obsession. It's a super fine mist that smells just as lovely, but not quite as intense. And I've been using it to refresh myself after every workout and just throughout the day. And since it's only a quarter of the price of the perfume, you really don't feel guilty when you're spritzing yourself several times a day with it. So if you're looking for something a little bit special without that major splurge price tag, I would check out the new body mists from Burrito. Now, my usual disclaimer, I'm not a therapist or a life coach. Everything in this episode is just what I have observed, learned, and what has worked for me. I hope that it's helpful to you too, but please take what is useful and leave the rest. All right, let's get into it. So for most of my adult life, my morning routine consisted of waking up at 7 a.m., splashing water on my face, getting my kids up and ready for school, and making breakfast and lunches for everybody, braiding my daughter's hair, and then there was a mad dash to school, hoping to not be late. There was nothing peaceful about my mornings, and I really didn't look forward to them, which sucked because I have always been a morning person. I always have the most energy, and I am in the best mood the first half of the day, and I have been that way my entire life. So I knew that I was doing something wrong. I was finally able to change this routine when I got divorced and moved into my own place 6 years ago. And not to be dramatic, but creating a morning routine around my goals and my needs has changed my life. So let's start here because I think this is the part that people tend to just skip past. The way you start your morning isn't just the first part of the day. It's more like setting the tone for the whole day. If you start it rushed, stressed, and already feeling behind because you're on your phone, already responding to other people before you've had a moment to check in with yourself, that's the energy that you're bringing into everything else during the day. It shows up in the meetings. It shows up in the way you talk to people that you love. You're playing catch up before you've even had breakfast. And here's what I think we get backwards about this. We treat the mornings like it's just logistics. We get up, we get out the door, whatever gets you moving fastest. But your nervous system doesn't actually know the difference between efficient and frantic. It just knows whether it woke up calm or whether it woke up already on the run. And however it wakes up tends to be how it stays for hours. I'm not saying a slow morning fixes everything. It doesn't erase a hard week or a hard year or whatever actually is going on in life. But I've noticed for me that even on the weeks where things feel heavier or my body's just not cooperating the way that I want it to, the mornings where I gave myself even 5 extra minutes to center myself before the day took over, that those days felt different. They weren't perfect. They were just a bit steadier, like I was ready to meet the day instead of it just slamming into me, if that makes sense. And I think that there is something else going on here too, if I'm being honest, because so much of adult life is reactive. You respond to your emails, you respond to the text messages, you respond to whatever your kid or your partner or your boss needs from you. It's always something coming at you. Most of your day is spent reacting to other people's requests of you, which is just its life. But if the very first thing you do every morning is also reactive, checking notifications, answering messages, scrolling on your phone, and reading other people's thoughts and stresses, then there's no moment in your whole day from the second you open your eyes where you actually got to choose anything for yourself first. And that adds up over weeks, over months. That adds up to feeling like a passenger in your own life instead of being the one in charge of driving you to your chosen destination. So that's the whole premise. Not that a good morning routine fixes your life, just that the first 30 minutes are quietly doing more work than we ever give them credit for. And most of us have handed that time over to our phones or our inbox or to everyone else's needs without ever actually deciding to or being aware of the damage that it does. All right, so here's where I want to pump the brakes a little because I know exactly where your brain just went. You just pictured the whole aesthetic, right? Like the 5 a.m. wake ups, the cold showers, the journaling and the stretching and the walks and the smoothies made from 6 ingredients you have to drive to 3 different stores to find. I'm sure if your mind went there, you immediately thought there's no way that I have time for any of that. And then you slammed the door on the whole idea before we ever even got started. That's not what I'm talking about today. And honestly, that version of romanticizing your morning has kind of ruined the idea for a lot of us. It's turned something that's supposed to feel good into one more performance, one more thing that you're failing at before it's even 7 a.m. But here's the actual truth. You don't need a whole routine. You need one ritual, one small, repeatable thing that is just for you, that takes a few minutes that you do before the day gets its hands on you. That is the bar. And if at some point you want to add to that, great. But just know that it's not required. And the 6 things that I'm about to walk you through, you don't need all 6 of them. You need just one that you will actually do consistently. But first, I want you to think about the difference between a routine and a ritual for just a second, because I think the distinction matters. A routine is more something you do because you're supposed to do it. A ritual is something you do because it makes you feel like you. It's the same minutes out of your day, but it's a completely different energy. We're building rituals today, not another list of things to fail at. And can we also just talk about the disservice that social media has done in making us believe that we need to have this perfect Pinterest soft life aesthetic for this to count? That unless there's natural light hitting a linen set just right, or if you don't have the right cappuccino coffee maker thing, or whatever it is they always show in their reels, I don't know because I don't drink coffee, but we fall into this belief that if we can't fit the aesthetic we see online, then what we're doing doesn't count, that it's not romantic enough. But that is wrong, because the whole point of romanticizing something is that you're the one deciding it's special, not that it meets some external aesthetic bar. You can romanticize instant oatmeal that you eat standing at the counter if you're actually present for it. You can romanticize the 2 minutes you get before your toddler wakes up. The rituals don't make the morning special, but you deciding to pay attention does. Okay, so let's get into these 6 rituals. If you have a good memory, great. If not, write them down if you want. Then pick one and start there. First is to protect the first 10 minutes of your morning from your phone. I know this one's always first on every single list like this, but there is a good reason for it, because it's the one thing that has the biggest effect that requires the least amount of effort. The second you open your phone, you've handed the tone of your morning over to whoever texted you or to whatever someone posted at 11 p.m. the night before. You now have people asking something of you, or something stressing you out, or you're forming opinions about things that probably aren't that important anyways, before you've even brushed your teeth. So just 10 minutes if you can, although I'm willing to bet that after you start doing this, you'll want to wait even longer to touch your phone. Charge your phone in a different room if you have to. I know that's the actual trick for some of us. It's not willpower. It's just physically not being able to reach it. But with this, the goal is to let your own thoughts show up first before your day is crowded out with everyone else's. Second is to give yourself a ritual drink, something that is just for the moment and not just fuel. For me, that's my cup of tea I enjoy making every morning. Whatever it is for you, I want you to actually sit with it for a minute instead of just chugging it on your way out the door. Pour it into a glass or into a favorite mug, not just whatever's clean by the kitchen sink. Then hold it and feel the warmth or the cold of it in your hands for a few moments before you start moving again. It's such a small thing, but there's something about a drink you actually savor instead of just gulping down that tells your body, okay, we're not rushing yet. We are just savoring this moment. The third thing on the list is to put something beautiful into your space before you do anything else. So this could be things like opening the curtains all the way instead of just cracking them. Light a candle even if it's 7 a.m. and that feels a little indulgent. Actually, especially if it feels a little indulgent. Or put some music on instead of the news. These things sound small, almost silly even, but your environment is talking to your nervous system before your to-do list ever gets a chance to say a word. And most of us are letting that environment be a dim, silent room we're rushing through instead of somewhere we actually want to be. Number 4 is to move your body gently, just for a few minutes. And I'm not talking about a workout. I mean stretching on the floor for 2 minutes while you're still in your pajamas. You can step outside and feel the actual air on your skin while reaching for the sky or for your toes. Walk to the end of the driveway and back. You're not trying to sneak in a workout here. You're just reminding your body that it's morning and it's allowed to wake up slowly instead of getting just jolted into the day. Fifth is to get dressed like the day actually matters, even if you're not leaving the house. We've talked about this on the show before, and it keeps coming back because it keeps working. You don't have to get fully done up. Nobody's asking you for a full face of makeup at 7 a.m., but put on something that isn't yesterday's sweatshirt with a stain on the sleeve. Brush your hair, even if you're just pulling it back into a ponytail. Do the smallest version of put together that still makes you feel like a woman who's showing up for her own day and not just surviving in whatever it is that she slept in. And lastly, write down at least one line before you touch your phone. If you don't have time to sit and journal, one sentence will do. What you're looking forward to, or just what kind of day you actually want to have, or something you're feeling particularly grateful for. Now, most of the time, my morning routine is longer than 30 minutes. Or rather, I'll say that when my health is good, it's longer than 30 minutes. But there are times, sometimes it's just a couple of days, and other times it could be a couple of weeks at a time that my health and my energy levels only allow me to do the bare minimum. And when I am feeling like that, I don't try to force more from myself. During these times, my mornings will look like giving myself 30 minutes to slowly wake up before getting my son up for school. I open my windows, I put the tea kettle on, and then I stretch while I wait for the water to boil. Then I sit down with my journal and my tea, and I write while listening to some soft music. I love listening to solfeggio frequencies first thing in the morning or piano melodies just because they are so calming and relaxing. And really, I don't want to hear anything with lyrics at this point of the day. But giving myself these 30 minutes to slowly wake up and meet the day just allows me to feel way more centered and in control of my own life, especially in the rough times. And I'm also much happier, less stressed, and able to be more present with my kids in the morning. Anyways, that is it. None of these 6 things take more than 5 or 10 minutes. None of them require you to become a morning person or wake up earlier than you already do, or much earlier, at least, or to even buy a single thing. They just require you to decide to make yourself the priority before the world gets a chance at demanding anything from you. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that every woman listening has the luxury of a quiet house and an hour to herself before anyone needs anything from her. I know what it is to have a baby and a house full of people demanding your attention. That's not the point of today, and it's not what any of this requires. And here's what I actually mean. You don't need 30 free minutes. You need 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Apply to one of these 6 things before the chaos officially starts. That's genuinely it. Drinking your 1 glass of water slowly instead of gulping it while standing at the sink takes the same amount of time either way. The only thing that changes is whether you were present for it. Writing 1 sentence in a notebook by the door takes less time than finding your keys most mornings. Putting on real pants instead of the ones you slept in doesn't cost you extra minutes. It's just a different choice in the same amount of time. The rushed, chaotic mornings and the slightly more intentional morning can genuinely take the exact same number of minutes. The difference isn't time, it's whether you were on autopilot for all of it or whether you intentionally claimed even 60 seconds of it as yours. That's available to you no matter what your mornings actually look like. The baby, the job, the house full of people. This was never about having more time than what you actually have. It's about what you do with the time you already have, however small that window is. So here's what I really want you to take away from today. This is never about becoming a morning routine person. Some of you are never going to be up before your kids or your alarm without a fight. And that is completely fine. This isn't about the hour on the clock. It's about the decision inside whatever hour you've got. Even if your morning is 15 rushed minutes before you're out the door, there's a version of those 15 minutes where you're present for them and a version where you're just surviving them. That choice is available to you no matter what your actual schedule looks like. And I want to say this plainly because I think it's the real point of the whole episode. Doing one small thing for yourself before the day starts asking things of you. That's not indulgent. That's you telling yourself in a way that's hard to fake that you matter before anyone else has weighed in on your day. That you're not just the person who gets everyone else out the door. You're a woman with a morning of her own, too. And you don't need all 6 rituals. You need one that you will actually keep, and you don't need to be perfect at it. Some mornings it'll be the phone thing, and some mornings it'll be none of them, and that is okay too, because tomorrow's another chance. This isn't about discipline. It's about deciding one morning at a time that you're worth that little bit of care before the day takes over. So here is your challenge for the week. Pick just one of the 6 rituals, whichever one sounds good to you, not the one that you think you should do, and do it every morning this week before you touch your phone. Just one of these things, okay? Just this week, see how it changes the way the rest of your day feels. So here is what I want you to remember today. The first 30 minutes of your day aren't neutral. They're setting the tone for everything after them, whether you're paying attention or not. You don't need a whole morning routine. You need one ritual that you actually keep. Something that is small, repeatable, and that is just for you. You need to protect your first 10 minutes of the day from your phone and create a real morning ritual that is just for yourself, whether it's your coffee or tea, playing some soft music, gentle movement, getting dressed up like it matters, or writing down at least one line before you pick up your phone. And lastly, this was never about becoming a morning person. Some people are not morning people and they never will be, and there is nothing wrong with that. What it is about is deciding, in whatever time you actually have, that you're worth showing up for before the day asks anything of you. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with another woman who you think would enjoy it too. And if you haven't yet, please follow the show, leave a 5-star rating and review. It helps the show grow, and I truly, truly appreciate it. And come find me on Instagram at Monty_Wheeler. Say hi, ask any questions, or leave a comment. I always love hearing from you. Thank you so much for spending your Sunday with me. I'll talk to you next week. Love you.